straight games after defeating the Cincinnati Reds 4-2 on Friday night, taking the first two games of the series. We're going to talk about that, answer some of your questions here on the Locked On Pirates podcast, a live edition of the Locked On Pirates podcast. My name is Ethan Smith. This episode is brought to you by Ultimate Baseball GM and Game Time. Now let's get into it.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Locked On Pirates podcast. My name is Ethan Smith, your host of this wonderful podcast here on the channel. You know, we're having fun. Everybody's having fun right now. Pittsburgh Pirates are winners of 5 straight, winners of 13 to their last 18. The quality start streak has continued as it's to 11 games, and the Pittsburgh Pirates defeated the Cincinnati Reds 4-2 on Friday night. And if you guys remember, yesterday I was on with Craig. I called this a revenge series for this team after the way they opened the season against the Cincinnati Reds, losing 2 of 3. And they've played like it. Of course, on Thursday night, they kind of tightrope their way through that one. They win 4-3. And then on Friday, of course, today, they win 4-2. So we haven't seen the same offensive output that we were seeing over the past couple of games with the Colorado Rockies per se, but we are still seeing this team in big spots answer the call. There have been multiple big spots with this team so far this year where they have answered the call. And as I've said a lot with this Pittsburgh Pirates team, they have continued to find ways to win games in different ways. They continuously keep doing it. You saw it today with Mark Mathias scoring 2 runs in the bottom of the second inning on a 2-run single. Carlos Santana had that big RBI double that found the gap in the 7th inning that gave the Pirates some insurance. There were some errors today. It's okay. It's perfectly fine. They didn't let them derail them. They didn't let it ruin their vibes or anything. And speaking of right now, guys, if you're here for this live edition of Locked On Pirates, this team is just fun, dude. It is a fun team. They have all kinds of gimmicks going on right now in the clubhouse. Of course, you have the Pikachu, which is given out to the best pitcher of every single game, so I'm sure we'll get a picture of Mitch Keller with the Pikachu tonight. You have the home run sword and the sheathing celebration. And it's really interesting, too, that with this team, and Dean actually brings this up, Dean Horowitz. Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to see you. And they're doing this all with Bryan Reynolds struggling. It's insane. Yeah, so after the ONeill Cruz injury happened, you knew that Bryan Reynolds was going to be a guy that he was going to have to step up. And so far, he's done fine. He's still been Bryan Reynolds for all intents and purposes, but he hasn't played that great over the last couple of games. He's done fine. He's not in the form that he was in at the beginning of the season, is all I'll say. And I do want to emphasize that it is indeed April, but you guys also heard me mention earlier this week on the pod that the Pirates need to keep winning games, especially games like this, before they hit that proverbial wall, because that wall is waiting. Every team, even a World Series contending team, hits a wall at some point in the season. And right now, the Pittsburgh Pirates are winning games to the point where right now they stand 7 games over 500. Cody Atkinson says Bryan Reynolds has always been a hot and cold hitter. I agree 100%. That's just who he is. He usually doesn't even get off to hot starts like this. Him starting that way was absolutely abnormal. But this team is finding ways to win. And obviously, there have been some games where the Pirates have put themselves in situations that they didn't need to be in. We've seen Robert Stevenson do it. We've seen Colin Holderman do it. We've seen Dauri Moreta do it. We've seen David Bednar do it. And they've come out of a lot of these games unscathed. Now, it is something that I think moving forward that I want to see this team improve on. is not putting themselves in those situations. That would be very nice. But it doesn't matter over 162 games. You're going to have games where you get lucky. You're going to have games where you're in tough situations that you have to get out of. And so far, they've done absolutely that. Tasha says Luis Cessa is on the mound tomorrow for the Reds. Good chance to get the bats going again. Not that they've been silenced by any means, just want to score more reminiscent of the Colorado series. I don't know if you'll get anything reminiscent of the Colorado series, but I mean, I do bring up your point here. They had 4 hits on Thursday night and only 6 hits tonight, so 10 combined hits over 2 games. The pitching is just shut down the Cincinnati Reds, which their strong suit is their lineup. Their lineup is not as bad as advertised. There's some very good players in the Cincinnati Reds lineup, but Mitch Keller and Johan Oviedo have done, or Roansy Contreras, my apologies, have done exactly what they're supposed to be doing right now with how this pitching staff is operating with these quality starts. And it's something that's very, very nice. And you mentioned that Luis Cessa is on the mound tomorrow. Luis Cessa has not had a good start to the year by any means. The Pirates have Rich Hill tomorrow. Rich Hill kind of seems like he's getting his feet under him a little bit more now. That's something that I'm enjoying to see from Rich Hill. It seems like he's finally getting to that point where he's figuring out some of his pitches. And albeit 43 years old, he does have to take a second to, get into the swing of a 162-game season. And this is also something I think you guys would also agree with here too, is yes, the Pirates have now won. They've won this series for all intents and purposes. I mean, they can't lose it. So they haven't won it, but they can't lose it. But with a series like this, going back even a week ago to the St. Louis Cardinals series, where the Pirates had ample opportunity to win both of the games they lost in that series, I hope they learn from that, especially facing Luis Cessa tomorrow, and I hope they come out with a fire under them and take tomorrow's game too. Win tomorrow. Extend the win streak. Guarantee a series victory over a 4-game series. Because here's the thing, you get the day off on Monday. Then you play the Dodgers, who are a very good team. Go into that series with all of the momentum that you can possibly have. And Dean says David Bednar made those hitters look ugly. I mean, that second at-bat was just filthy. Yeah, I believe he just finished that entire inning on 8 pitches, I believe. So that was something that, with this team right now, David Bednar being under their belt is something that they really, really have to like right now. And by the way, for everybody living in this wonderful city of Pittsburgh, or if you want to travel to another ballpark this year, make sure you use the Game Time app. Not eBay Motors, the Game Time app. There you go. Download the Game Time app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your order. Because buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. By the way, Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Guess what? You don't have to plan months in advance unless you want to. I like to do that, but you don't have to, because Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. You get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. So there were some questions that I know that I answered on yesterday's show with Craig, and we didn't get to all of them because of the time. So I am going to scroll here on my wonderful Twitter feed and find some of these questions that I didn't get to on yesterday's episode. And with you guys being live right now, go ahead and drop some of those things. But while I'm looking for these in the meantime, you do really have to enjoy what this team is doing right now. There's a lot that they've been doing well. The offense, as you mentioned, somebody mentioned earlier, it has been kind of taking a dip from what we saw in the Colorado Rockies series, but of course it is Colorado. But at the end of the day, I mean, you've seen some good things from this team and how they can win games in different ways. And that's what I really am happy about, is that this Pirates team has done a very good job winning games in ways that you wouldn't expect them to. And we're going to find some of these questions here from that thread that I had a few days ago. Jared Kroll asked, barring injuries, when do you think the earliest we see some of the top prospects in the majors, specifically Endy and Ortiz, June or July? Do you think a guy like Malcolm Nunez has a shot at time this year at all, especially with our not great first base depth right now? With that question specifically, obviously he asked that a few days ago. Endy Rodriguez was actually just placed on the 7-day IL, but I don't think that's going to change anything. I agree with you. I would think June or July is when we see Endy Rodriguez, Luis Ortiz, and some of these prospects. I'd throw Leo Figueroa in there. I would throw guys like that. The first base thing with Malcolm Nunez, it just really depends on how they want to attack the first base position at this point. Carlos Santana has done a perfect job over there defensively. He's added with the bat as well. So if Malcolm Nunez was to come up, I would still like a platoon option between him and Carlos Santana. So that's something that I think will be a very good idea. I just don't think we see it until June or July at the earliest, just based off of things and how the Pirates operate with service time manipulation. Obviously, every team does it. It's not just the Pirates, but I think we'll get to see Endy, Luis Ortiz, and guys like that by like June or July. Thoughts on the A's moving? Pretty depressing. Yeah, Jason Burke of Locked On A's had a lot more to say about it. Obviously, he's very close with a lot of guys in the team. He's very close with a lot of the players. So go check out his episode that he had. It was a snapshot episode right after the news came out. Go check that out. He did a phenomenal job talking about it. And rightfully so. He's pretty upset. And already we've seen Vegas outlets already changing the logo to the Las Vegas Athletics. I personally think, just based off of the love of baseball that I have, especially Moneyball as well, that movie, I just think if the team leaves Oakland, they need to just change the name, change the colors, change the name, change everything about the franchise, just create a new franchise. Just that's what I would do if I were the Oakland A's, but I'm sure they'll probably try to hold on to the name in Vegas, but I would rather them go through a expansion team kind of thing where they just like change everything up and go based off of a Las Vegas themed name team. Cody Atkinson says, you think Bryan Hayes will eventually break out with the bat, or is he what it is? Or is he what he is? There we go. A 230, 240 hitter with a very good glove. I think you put it right on the nose. Is that would be kind of the floor of what you're expecting from Bryan Hayes, Cody. A 230 to 240 average with a Gold Glove every single year. That's kind of the floor of what you're expecting from him. Once you get into that 250, that 260 range, that's where you're getting more value out of that contract than what you put into it. So I think with the 230 to 240 comment, you can expect that from Bryan Hayes every year, along with the very good glove that he's going to probably win multiple Gold Gloves with over his career. I just don't know if the bat. I mean, you go look at his baseball savant page. The guy just gets unlucky a lot. I mean, even today, you saw. Look at the hit or the almost hit that should have been a home run that he had, where the ball sounded great off the bat and it just ended up going to the warning track. He just gets unlucky sometimes, and it's just how it is. But also, let's just hope he stays healthy as well. Timothy Brannon, if the Pirates are out of contention around the trade deadline, do you see Joe as a big trade target for other teams with his hot start, or would the Pirates be better off trying to extend him? I think if the Pirates continue this this train of thought that they have right now, I do think they're going to try to hold on to a lot of these guys. If they're out of contention around the trade deadline, again, that's something that's not really in their control. It just depends on how they perform, as well as how the Brewers, the Cardinals, and the Cubs perform. So we'll see what happens in the NL Central. Now, if they are out of contention, I do think you're obviously going to see guys like Rich Hill, Vince Velasquez, maybe a Connor Joe, but I do think Connor Joe offers you a lot of versatility that the Pirates like. But obviously, Austin Hedges is another guy that could potentially go and help somebody. There's a lot of guys that the Pirates have, but they do have, as Tasha just mentioned, they do have a lot of control over Connor Joe for quite some time. So I don't expect them to move on from him at the deadline, even if they're out of contention. It's not like a forced move, if that makes sense. It's not like something they would be forced into doing because he's going to be gone next year or something. I do think Connor Joe is a guy that can really help this team out as a backup outfielder when more things start to come into fruition. I think he's a very good guy right now for this team. I think he brings a lot of good energy. I think he's doing just fine, and that's where I'll leave it. I don't think he gets traded at the deadline. I think he'll be here for a while. Brian Epps says the Vegas Spades. I'd actually be okay with that. Sounds kind of cool. Dean says, I know we're probably not making the playoffs, but man, this team is so fun. Yeah, they are fun right now. Enjoy it while we have it, because the summer months are usually the months when the Pirates start to struggle. And enjoy it right now while we have it. It's indeed very fun to watch. And then Sum and Substance says, Dean, I think we're making the playoffs. So we have a kind of like a little thing here, but I haven't really strayed away from my season prediction just yet. Now, if they win this whole series and then go into next week and continue this good string of things, I really don't know. Locked On Cubs is here. Pirates are on a roll. NL Central strong to open the season. Yes, it is. And it's shaping up to be a fun little race between, I would assume, the Cubs, Brewers, and the Cardinals. But if the Pirates keep playing good baseball like this, I might have to include the Pirates in that string of stuff going on right now. And it's just really fun. I mean, it's fun that the NL Central, albeit at the end of the year, we know the NL Central is going to be one of the weaker divisions. The NL West is not going to be as bad as it is right now. The AL East and all that stuff is going to be very good. The NL East is going to be very good. So I still think the NL Central of the three NL divisions is the worst. But right now, they're playing very good baseball. I can't wait to see the Bucks take on the Yanks in September. Okay, I'm getting too ahead of myself, but still, let's go. I don't know if they're scheduled to play each other in September, but October would be fun for the Pirates to play the Yankees, especially because one of the golden things about me being the host of this podcast that I always joke about is that now at the extended schedule and the extended playoffs, my birthday is October 30th. So I'm really, really hoping that the Pirates make the World Series while I'm still a host of this podcast at some point, because having a birthday where the Pirates make the World Series and they're playing a World Series game on my birthday is a pipe dream. And Tasha, I think Locked On Cubs would agree with you there that we all just hate the Cardinals. I think they're just universally a hated team. Yeah, I mean, you guys keep coming with the questions. I'm enjoying this. It feels really good right now. Pirates are playing some of the best baseball I've seen them play ever since I've been a host of this podcast. And, I mean, again, 5 straight wins, 13 of their last 18. They're doing good. Brian Epps says, I just love seeing all the fans in the stands getting rowdy at the game. Having a competitive team is so much fun. Oh, yeah, with the throwing in on Santana and Connor Joe, I don't know if anybody else caught this on the broadcast. That guy running from, like, the left side of behind home plate, it looked like he wanted to storm right through that fencing or that netting and go right up to the umpire, which I am glad that the umpire did kind of stop things there for a minute because of the Connor Joe kind of a timeout that he had, but also wanting to take time to get back into the box after having a ball go right towards his face. I was expecting a warning there, but we didn't get one. And Dean asks, are you looking to go to any games this year? I'm debating on making a Pittsburgh trip this year, Dean. I just have to figure out when it's going to happen and financials behind that. Now, I know me living in Georgia, we don't play in Atlanta until September. I know they play the Rays next month, and that's like a 4.5-hour drive to St. Petersburg. So that would be something that I would potentially think about. But we'll there's a lot of baseball to be played, so I'm sure we'll figure it out. 5-game win streak for the first time since early 2019. Don't ask what happened after that win streak in 2019. Yeah. Double Down says, yeah, they take on the Yanks September 15th through the 17th. Joe is sick, by the way. Yeah, Connor Joe is freaking awesome, dude. And you know what else is freaking awesome is Ultimate Pro Baseball GM, where you can get 100% free boost when you use the promo code Locked On in the game shop. Pro Baseball GM is the coolest game I've played in a long time. I've always thought I could be a great Major League GM. As it turns out, it's not all that easy. If you've had the same thought and have fantasized about managing your own franchise, go and download Pro Baseball GM immediately. The game allows you to manage every strategic aspect of a franchise, playing through seasons and leading your franchise and fans to glory as you build a historic dynasty. In the simulation, you're responsible for hiring the right coaches and staff, managing team finances, scouting and drafting players, managing through difficult personalities and injuries, navigating your franchise through free agency and all the ups and downs of a season. All of this in a challenging and realistic game world. Ultimate Baseball GM is completely free and playable offline, on the go, as you want and when you want to. Locked On Pirates listeners like yourselves get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo code Locked On in the game store. So make sure to check it out. To download the game, just visit probaseballgm.com, scan the code, or look it up in the App Store. That's probaseballgm.com. Do it. It's fun. It's awesome. I enjoy it a lot. It's a very fun app. Oh, I didn't know you lived in Georgia. What made you a Pirates fan? I was born in Pittsburgh. All of my family went to high school in Pittsburgh, college in Pittsburgh. I just ended up growing up in the state of Georgia because of a lot of factors. But no, I was born at Allegheny Memorial Hospital, October 30th, 1998. I'm from Pittsburgh, so kind of just grew up with it. That's why you see I'm a Steelers fan, I'm a Pirates fan, I'm a Penguins fan. The only fandom that I have that's a little off of Pittsburgh is the Georgia Bulldogs and the Los Angeles Clippers. That's really the only two that are very, very, very different from me being a Pittsburgh fan. But baseball has always had a spot in my heart. Go Hawks? No. Wireless Grapes, I'm sure, but no. Trey stepped up today. Cool. I'm a Clippers fan. All I know is pain. Kingston Farrell says, do you think Pirates play differently without ONeill? I mean, it's been interesting how they've played without ONeill Cruz. They play like they have a little bit more of a moxie about them, but ONeill Cruz is definitely going to add to that too. They're just on a hot streak right now. It just so happens that they're playing well without ONeill. I wouldn't say they play differently, but they do have obviously a different lineup construction and different roles for these players. Where do I live in Georgia? I live in Savannah, Georgia. Auburn, I've never been to Alabama, so I couldn't tell you. But Savannah's awesome. Wireless, it's okay, dude. I'm not the biggest Hawks hater in the world. I see they took Game 3. Basketball right now for me is just pain. I mean, Los Angeles Clippers go, by the way, check out Locked On Clippers if you want some coverage there. Being a Pirates fan and a Clippers fan my entire life has made me a depressed soul in those aspects. But right now, by the way, the Pirates are on pace for 108 wins. That would be nuts. Is it going to happen? No. It's not going to happen. But let's just have fun relishing this team the way they are right now. It's a very fun team that they have right now. And who do you think stepped up the most the past 8 games? The starting pitching, definitely. I mean, that's one of the easy answers. The starting pitching has been phenomenal. 11 quality starts in a row. They've done great. Connor Joe has looked really good. Ji-Hwan Bae has looked very good. The veterans on this team, Andrew McCutcheon and Carlos Santana, have had their moments where they stepped up too. There's just been a lot. It's been a collective stepping up for this team. Was just in Savannah this week. The historic district is beautiful. Yeah, dude, it really is. That's actually I live in the Starland district of Savannah, so that's kind of like a little bit away from the historic district, but not too far. 5 aces. I wouldn't call them 5 aces, but they've done very well. I think Connor Joe and Ji-Hwan Bae complement each other well, but being both utility-style players, I've never seen any Pirates players like these before. They're so interchangeable. Yeah, and that's something that Ben Cherington, over the course of his tenure as this GM, has wanted to find. He wants to find guys that can play multiple defensive positions and also have a good bat at the plate. That's what they want. They want guys that are going to add offensive production, but also be able to play in multiple positions in the field. Connor Joe does that. Ji-Hwan Bae does that. Even Rodolfo Castro, to a degree, does that, being able to play second base, shortstop, and third base. He can do those things. Connor Joe's hitting like prime Albert Pujols, I'm sure. I kid. Vince Velasquez and Hill terrify me every time they pitch. Do you see any All-Stars other than Bednar or consistent Bryan Reynolds on this team? I mean, if McCutchen keeps playing like this, he'll get the fan vote. I'm just going to be honest, he will. But outside of that, I don't think Hayes is there unless his bat catches up to his glove, and he's not going to make the All-Star game just off of a Gold Glove. Other than that, I mean, if one of these relievers keeps playing well too, I could see that. Mitch Keller, if he continues on a tear, maybe. But I would definitely say Bednar and Reynolds are the two guys you can point to, and then McCutchen as a close third to get in the All-Star game. Do you think Reynolds still wants to get traded? No. Personally, no. I think he's loving everything that's going on right now. He's probably a little upset that he's not hitting like he was a few weeks ago. But I think he's starting to sense that this team has something special on the rise. Justice De Los Santos, by the way, on Twitter, said that in his season debut, Termarr Johnson, the Pirates' #1 prospect per MLB Pipeline, went 1 for 2 with a run, scored 2 RBIs and a walk at low A Bradenton. So nice to see him having a very good start to his season. Yeah, guys, Pirates play tomorrow. We get Rich Hill versus Luis Cessa tomorrow. They have a chance to win the series tomorrow off rip. So that's always very nice to see. You guys are the best engagers. You're the best listeners that a podcast host could ask for. Year 3 so far has easily been the funnest year that I've covered this team. And Anthony says, I've said it all off season. The additions and FA and trades have made the Pirates competitive, and everyone doubted me. Well, now look at them. Yeah, they have a very good start to the year so far, brother, and they're having fun. And we're going to continue to have fun here on the Locked On Pirates podcast. This upcoming week, we're going to have Gary Morgan Monday, as we always do. The Locked On Reds guys are also going to be on with us on Monday. So you're getting 2 episodes on Monday. And then, of course, you're going to have Craig on Thursday. We're going to be previewing the Dodgers series on Tuesday. So that's something that'll be very fun. We'll recap the Dodgers series on Friday. So that kind of gives you a big outlook of how the week will look. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Ethan Smith, your host of the Locked On Pirates podcast. Follow me on Twitter at MVP_Ethan or at Locked On Pirates. You guys are great. I love you all. Have a wonderful rest of your Friday evening, and I will see you on the flip side.